The NCRI brings together 21 different organisations related to cancer and helps them to work together for the benefit of patients, carers and researchers. The partners together spend over £400 million a year on cancer research, and their whole objective is to make a difference to people's lives. We don't actually fund research ourselves, that's what partners do. We can't tell them how to spend their money, but we can encourage them to do it in a way which gives most benefit. We do have a small secretariat that develops the NCRI strategy so that we can focus on topics that really matter and can add value. They also manage the early stages of many of the initiatives, helping to get the relationships right and taking things forward. And the Secretariat also organises the annual conference, which is now going very strongly. Well, how does it all happen? It really can only happen with the commitment of a lot of people and a lot of organisations. Fortunately, we have that from the partners at chief executive level, professionals in clinical networks, scientists across the country working together.
Since its establishment in 2001, the NCRI has been a very important part of the cancer landscape. There is a large amount of funding available through different funders for investigators who work in cancer research. And getting that coordination right between us to make sure there's no duplication and making sure that we actually target our funding is extremely important. It's not just a passive organisation working with the funders, but it actually also seeks out areas that we may have missed, and therefore it advises us as funders on areas that we should be focusing on.
The benefit of the NCRI is that it's a true partnership of the major funders of cancer research in the UK. And what that enables us to do is to truly pool our resources, not just money, but also our experience and our knowledge, so that we can really identify and address the major gaps in our knowledge base in terms of research in the UK for the benefit of cancer patients. Since the NCRI was formed, we have seen some substantial differences in the way, first of all, that we all work together, and there is much, much greater partnership working between all of the bodies in the UK now in terms of addressing the problems that exist in cancer.
The power of NCRI is they can do things by collaboration which no individual organisation, no matter how large it is, can do on its own. One, for example, which affects us is prevention. We know there is very little research being done in prevention. We don't get that many applications, but working together, this is an area we can focus on. One example of the value is the Common Scientific Outline, where all the research that is currently taking place is coded in the same way and then put onto a database, so anybody can see what research is taking place, and that will help eliminate duplication.
It tends to hold up a mirror to ourselves to make sure that we're actually on track, we're listening to what investigators are telling us. And because it works as an organisation that in essence coordinates all of us, we all voluntarily participate in it, and therefore it ensures that we all play our part. It listens also to the funders. It sometimes is not possible for certain funders to fund areas of work, and it begins to ensure that other funders might be able to pick up where those gaps are. So it's an integral part of our working in cancer research across the UK spectrum. And as such, it has an influence way beyond the boundaries of the United Kingdom, because it strengthens cancer research in the UK and therefore strengthens its position internationally as well.
The NCRI has already made a lot of achievements. The first one was getting the funders together to pool information on what research they were doing and how much they were spending on it. That led on to identifying where there were gaps and taking action to plug those gaps. Now, for example, action on research onto prevention, action on research into supportive and palliative care, clinical trials through the National Cancer Research Network, and recently the National Cancer Intelligence Network, which even in its first year has really given us new insights into what is happening on cancer in this country. The secret of the NCRI's success, and it's an open secret, is that it's built on partnerships. It's built on partnerships between funders, it's been built on partnerships between researchers and all sorts of different researchers, whether they're clinical researchers, behavioural scientists, laboratory researchers, but they're partnerships of people who want to work together to drive forward cancer research.
When I went to a conference in Canada where I was invited to speak, the first thing they said to me, we are so impressed with what you've done with NCRI, we are trying to replicate it here in Canada for breast cancer, so we can have the funders, the government, the health service, everybody working together with common objectives. And when I came back, I said to my colleagues at NCRI, we really need to go elsewhere to find out how good we are.